I think Star Wars is such a part of people's lives, and it's something that they just see now on a regular basis, that when you say George Lucas and he created it, I don't think people give enough full value to what that means. I like to think I do, but I worked with him, so I've seen him create it. I've seen the person that comes up with the lines and the dialogue and understands Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker in a very deep level, because those characters are a part of him. And for my part, you know, joining Lucasfilm, I always respected that. I never felt that Star Wars was something that was mine. I felt privileged to be a part of telling the story. I felt grateful that I got to do it with George.
Star Wars was a big influence on me because it came out in '77. I was born in '66. So I was right at the right age for that thing to hit. And it was before all the hype, you know, it was the first to kind of the popcorn blockbusters. You had that, and then you had Spielberg's films. So you had like Jaws and that. But before then, it was still the '70s, you know, it was '70s movies. And I remember seeing, I don't even remember seeing a commercial. I remember seeing like a picture in the newspaper, like the New York Post or something, about the movie. And it was after it was out already, and it was like, this looks pretty cool.
Seeing the screenplay, I immediately had the feeling, yes, there was something of substance there. Storytelling has a perennial stability, probably since Paleolithic times, people sitting around a campfire and telling stories. So it's really good in storytelling, and it has a lot of openings for complete fantasy. And I found the dialogues and the constellations of figures in the film quite interesting.
The Mandalorian, whose name is Din Djarin, is your iconically cool, flawed, mysterious, loner, gunslinger to the, best of the samurai movies and the westerns, and because it's impossible to get to him because he's covered in armor from head to toe. The idea is that, he's relatable. We're all kind of covered in our own armor, and terrified of taking that armor off. And that's the thing that crosses him over into a character that we're all going to really want to follow.
And the most basic storyline is about a man who's been following a way of life and has that way of life sort of upended by the introduction of the baby. And it sort of changes his life, and I think he's reevaluating his priorities and what means something to him in his life in the world. So I think it's really sort of about a man discovering something about himself that he had never known until he met the child.
As I became a bit more of a student of filmmaking, I really began to appreciate the brilliance of Star Wars and what Lucas had created. And then I, of course, started to read more, and the hero's journey and all those kinds of books, and began to really appreciate Joe Campbell and what he was saying and understand a lot more. Then, for me, it became, wow. Beyond being groundbreaking, Star Wars was. It was, in its own way, like a crack into some sort of other universe that I hadn't been exposed to, So it was pretty phenomenal. Not only what it was at the time, but what it has become.